Green, green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
Now we got a crash. Cars spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hello.
That was pretty good, wasn't it?
I didn't think Eric was going to
Danny,
come up like that.
Danny, what was that?
That's
For
something-
our Spotify listeners, Danny, what was that noise?
Oh, yeah, because it was definitely me. It
Usually
was
I
totally
do that.
me.
I usually do that crap, but no, Eric, dude.
I appreciate the commitment to it, Eric. Good job.
Yeah.
We're off to a great start. But welcome everybody to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Man, we got some good stuff to talk about here. Got a lot. Let me pull up the Darian, what would we call it? The famous itinerary.
The famous podcast itinerary.
No, all
Everybody's
jokes
famous
aside.
here.
All jokes aside, we got Richmond to go over this week, and even though a lot of people weren't crazy about it, Richmond has a lot to talk about this week for both Xfinity and Cup. So I guess we'll just break right into it. Eric, kind of start us off with just Denny Hamlin finally breaking his horrid skid of like finishing 30th every week.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Hamlin's been out of sorts for over a year, but then we forget that just a few months ago he was in the championship race. He was a part of the championship four, but this year, yeah, has been disastrous. He had yet to finish inside the top 10 through the first six races.
Six.
Yeah, and now rolling into Richmond, one of his best tracks. Really, like, we can put all the spotlight on Denny Hamlin, deservedly so. He and Chris Gabehart played the right strategy at the end. They had the freshest tires, and they charged through the field in the closing laps. But Toyota, as a manufacturer, and more specifically Joe Gibbs Racing as a team, needed this weekend to go right. And I think overall it did. All four of their drivers finished in the top 10. They led laps. Truex won a stage. It looked like Truex and Hamlin were both there with chances to win in the closing laps. So I think Joe Gibbs Racing has to feel pretty comfortable with how they performed, but Denny Hamlin especially. He was in contention all day. They finally put together a full, complete race, and I'm shocked. A race that had this many green flag pit stops and pit cycles. Hamlin didn't make any mistakes on pit road. What a thing. How about that? So just goes to show you, when they put a full race together, they still have the speed. Hamlin's still a great driver, and Gabehart's a top crew chief. I was kind of happy to see him win, and you could see the emotion once he got out of the car. That looked like a guy who hadn't won in a while. And yeah, I know he won a couple races late last year, but you could tell the struggles this season had added some pressure on him.
Danny, I want to hear your take on Denny Hamlin beating a Hendrick car in the last 5 laps. Just I feel like you'd have an interesting take on that.
That sounds familiar.
It's very much ironic. It really is, especially considering how last year went for Hamlin, and the fact that he dominated a good portion of it, and then Bowman backed into it there. And in a way, he kind of backed into this one. Can't say he didn't. Only led 5 laps.
Yeah, the strategy, I mean, it just
But,
played
you
in
know,
his
hey,
hand early.
It don't matter who it is. Whether it's my guy or Hamlin, he ran a smart race. They did exactly what they needed to.
Well, Darian, you mentioned the strategy game of it. Like, I believe, if I remember right, and I could be wrong, I believe Hamlin, when he first started that last run, was like
He was like
21 seconds back, I want to say.
He was just barely inside the top 10. Like NASCAR made like a social media post on their Instagram. I think they put it on Twitter as well and all their social platforms. But anyways, like he was like back in like 9th and then just methodically worked his way in those final laps to get up all the way to first. And yeah, I mean, Hamlin through the first 6 races, not a single top 10. And then you're thinking, oh man, like he's just struggling to barely stay inside the top 30 there. Like, what's going on? He was in the championship 4 last year. What's happening? And then all of a sudden, now he's the first and only driver so far this year over the age of 30 to win. He's like 41. And I was like, oh yeah, Denny Hamlin's in his 40s now.
Yep.
That's crazy. It's crazy to think
about.
about.
Does not look like it, but
yeah, he really doesn't. But I mean, damn. I mean, I've been watching him since his rookie year in 2006, and Yeah, I mean, now he's back in victory lane now. But as for his the team he owns and stuff, that's a much different story. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at the guys who finished up front. It was veterans across the board. Harvick, of course, similar strategy, charged up to second. Truex was there. Yeah, he had young boy William Byron there in the top five. But the veterans, it was kind of. I titled my video the Empire Strikes Back. You go Revenge of the Sith, whatever you want to call it. Insert Star Wars reference.
I did not expect you to have that as your title. I was like, oh, okay.
See, I got mixed up. I thought it was May the 4th. May the 4th, but no, it was like April the 4th. So I was like, a month early, but that's okay.
And didn't Mike Joy during the race, like sometime he's like, here's Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin. Usually in other years they would be competing for the win. And then in this race they ended up winning. So.
It was like the reverse announcers jinx. But I'll be real, like that last run until I'd say 10 to go, like it was a possibility with what they were talking about with about 15 to go. But with about 10 to go, I still thought it was Truex's race to lose. Like the way he was running down Byron, I thought there'd be just enough like lap traffic that maybe it would hold up Hamlin and Harvick and Truex could scoot by. But that kind of leads to kind of overall, we talked a little bit about it before, is that JGR and Toyota, they showed up. And they've shown up for some other races this year and not gotten the results, but they've also been off in other races, including Phoenix, which is the most similar to Richmond. So I guess, Danny, kind of start us off, like, do you think with this Joe Gibbs Racing is kind of figuring it out, or is this just a bread and butter track?
I think I think it's bread and butter. This is something that just plays well into the notes that they have in recent years. Granted, during a new car, so what good are some of those notes? But really, I think what this gave us a chance to see was for the first time more than other tracks this season, it gave us that glimpse of the fact that more of these cars are a lot equal. And it really did come down to the strategy each crew chief played in the end of this one, which was nice. It was kind of refreshing for us to see something like that, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't know what you guys thought, but I mean, it was nice to see that one more from the crew chief side than the driver's side.
And it was also nice to finally see some multiple green flag pit stops in a race. Like before the Richmond race and stuff, we only had like a few, but then all of a sudden I think we had like 4 or 5 green flag pit stops during this race.
Richmond used to be kind of a wreck fest back in the COT days, but now it's really not. Doesn't get a lot of green flag laps at Richmond these days.
It's a strategy track. I love it.
I think it was, I believe, and I hate to give this guy credit on the show, I think it was Nick Bromberg tweeted that multi-car, like 2-car accident this race was the first multi-car wreck at Richmond in like 3 years. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's usually pretty tame. But to your question, Jared, or to your topic of Joe Gibbs Racing, yeah, I mean, they were fast. I think all 4 finishing in the top 10 is one thing, but all 4 probably should have been in the top 5. I think Christopher Bell ended up like 6th, and Kyle Busch was probably going to get a top 5 until that penalty that we can talk about in a minute. So I think Joe Gibbs Racing has to feel really, really good. Now, 23-11, still kind of a mess over there. Kurt broke on lap 4. Bubba was a no-show. I don't know. If there are any doubts that the two aren't exactly the same team, that there is some separation there, I think Richmond helped prove that it was night and day. But I think overall Toyota, they haven't been as off as I think people say they've been. Like people like to say Toyota has been way behind the Chevys and the Fords. The Chevys have clearly been at the top, but like Toyota or Ford, take your pick. Like Truex or Kyle Busch was going to win that Las Vegas race until Eric Jones hit the wall with 8 to go. So I think Joe Gibbs Racing has been in the ballpark, but Richmond was the first race this year where I thought, okay, they might be the best team today. And thank goodness, if they'd showed up to Richmond and completely laid an egg, been completely flat, that would have been concerning. As it is, I think the parity of the season's only going to continue. It still feels like it's anyone's championship or anyone's championship 4. Like I still feel like we could see a championship 4 of like Kyle Busch, Larson, freaking William Byron, and Ross Chastain. Like that's the kind of madness we could see in November at this point.
Well, we kind of talked about it a bit. Darian, kind of start us off. Kyle Busch penalized for tape on the grill. Like we even had some confusion in our chat where I think 2 of us knew it was a rule and 2 of us didn't, where it was like, yeah, you can't put tape on the grill anymore. And I don't think that's as much where the controversy lies as much as the fact that it took NASCAR, according to Kyle Busch's crew and crew chief, almost 200 laps to find this. So kind of, Darian, just sort of spring us off into this,
Yeah, well, first off, that's ridiculous that it took that long. And I was wondering when they said it on the broadcast, like, the piece of tape. I'm like, wait, that little green piece of tape that they've had on for like the past 250 something laps, now they're going to call it and stuff. But then Danny's video informed me of something that I hadn't even noticed. That I remember at Atlanta, you had taken a photo or a video of Martin Truex Jr.'s pit stop at the Atlanta race. And I had noticed, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They don't have NASCAR officials at every single pit stall anymore.
Yeah,
So,
about 4 to 5 now.
yeah, and I didn't know that. So I'm like, okay, that makes more sense then. And then also too, like, yeah, I had to take a moment too, because I'm like, wait, they added that? And yeah, apparently in the offseason they've added that. So it's been a rule for about a good 6.5 months to be exact. And but yeah, I don't know. It's like they have to do a better job though, like some, like with calling some of those like things or whatever, because like if they would have called it early in the race, I think Kyle Busch would have been able to rebound and maybe he would have had a much better finish in the end, because obviously calling it, yeah, it's still a good finish, but I mean, maybe could have finished a lot better because he, would have had more time to bounce back and stuff. But when you call it that late in the race and stuff, and it's been on for 200 laps, like I can understand their frustration. It's like, why didn't you guys pull us in like earlier? We've been doing this or whatever, but yeah,
it's like in the NBA when you're like intentionally fouling to try and stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, call it, I'm fouling him.
Yeah.
If I can segue back off that official thing, that was my biggest thing I take away is the fact that why do we not have pit road officials like we used to? I guess it's obviously budget cut reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we're getting back to normal a little bit. Why don't we look at adding those back to being a regular thing? And I've seen someone say, well, they don't want them going over the pit wall and risking getting hurt. That's fine. They don't necessarily have to do that. Just have them where they can observe the pit stop up close and know that you're not doing anything. And I was looking back at some of my video from Atlanta, just kind of like getting a better idea of the inside of the pit area. Most of the pit stalls did have a member of the fire and rescue team there, but they were ready in about every pit stall in case of an emergency. Why is there not a pit road official there with more new rules to make sure that no one's just slapping a piece of tape up on the grill when they're not supposed to? I don't know. Yeah. That's my biggest takeaway. I feel like if we're going to have more new rules, we need to have more than and especially with the way Fox is covered, just more than depending on Fox cameras to pick up that stuff.
What was interesting, and I just pulled it up to make sure I get it right, but NASCAR, like I think either yesterday or whatever, issued like an official report, like an explanation as to why they waited so long to call it. And they said that they noticed it about 100 laps after it probably was put on. And then all the pit road officials and race control officials were trying to figure out how it got there. Like they wanted to make sure it wasn't something he just like ran over. Like maybe it was a piece of the tear off that he hit. They wanted to make sure, but that feels pretty easy. I feel like your first thing would be to go rewatch the video. I would hope they have access to video of pretty much every pit stop. I know the teams take video of their own pit stops. Go back and watch the video of, how many pit stops could you have done in 100 laps? Probably 2 at most. Go watch those 2, 15-second videos and see if they did it. So it still feels like it should have been a lot faster. As it was, it took another probably, it looks like they say 80 or 90 laps to finally confirm that, oh yeah, they put it on and that's why they called it. So that could just be them covering their ass a little bit. But, that's their explanation. I don't know. It's like you guys said, they need more eyes and ears. They need to be able to relay this information quicker in the moment. Or else, like, why bother? Like, if you're going to have these very clear black and white rules and you still can't enforce them in a timely manner, like, what's the point? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, the fact it straight up screwed his race. I mean,
yeah.
It cost him probably 5 spots.
He's still got a top 10, but still, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Put it in perspective. He still rallied to 9th. What would he have finished without that?
I'm going to got in the top 5 at the very least.
Might have even been contending for the win, honestly.
It depends on what strategy he was on, because he was, I think he would have cycled out ahead of Hamlin based on where they were running before. So
was he on the Truex? I think he was on the Truex Byron strategy, so he probably would have finished right behind Truex, so probably 5th. I think. I may be wrong.
It feels like for Kyle Busch this season is kind of like Jeff Gordon's 2010 season, where it's just like the start of the year, Gordon was one of the fastest guys out there. It was just every other week, him and his team found a way to lose. Either the team screwed up, or Gordon had a bad restart, or a caution landed at the wrong time. It's like Kyle Busch, it's like exactly the same way, where it's like every single week it seems like he's up there, except Phoenix. And every single week he figures out how to either finish outside the top 10 or just like heartbreakingly close to a win,
Sorry, I know we saved these for a little bit later, but Ryan Sellers gave a super chat and said the window tint upstairs must have been too dark to see Kyle's tape. And also they're saying that Eric cussed, so you did it again.
Oh, you cuss? I didn't hear.
I said ass. I mean, someone
Oh,
said
there you go.
someone said last week's podcast should be rated R. I believe the ratings allow one F-bomb on a PG-13 movie, so we were okay last week.
Yeah,
Still
we're
that
fine.
PG-13.
We're not rated R, bro.
Hell yeah,
No.
for podcast's
Yeah.
sake, like to be
Yeah.
labeled not vulgar, I think it's like you're allowed one F-bomb. So
Nice.
Nice.
All right, who
End
gets
the
it this
show.
week? Who wants it this week? Who
Danny
one of
and
your
I are
turns.
pure. We have not been on the list.
Yeah,
yet.
and they haven't touched
No
it.
pressure.
Yeah.
Knowing who I work for, you're probably not getting that out of me.
Anyway, but kind of just going back to the race itself, we talked a little bit about him. Byron dominated at least part of the race. He was up front a lot, but overall HMS kind of seemed off, and it was kind of similar to how they ran at Phoenix as well. So I'm kind of thinking, we've talked a lot about how even though Chase Elliott hasn't won, he's like up in top of the points, and the other guys have all won. But where do you kind of gauge Hendrick Motorsports now, knowing that in two races that are probably going to be the most applicable to the last two races, the most important races of the year, they've been off? Is it something to be concerned about, or are we just, is it something they're just going to build on from here and test on? Eric, I want you to start this one off.
It's weird because if you look at those two races you mentioned, Phoenix and Richmond, like Hendrick was still decent. Chase Elliott was up near the front. I think even Bowman snuck into the top 10. Yeah, I mean, they were still relevant. I think Larson even finished 5th. But like in the case of Phoenix, they were beat by a bunch of those other Chevys. Like Reddick was running better, Chastain was running better, Briscoe in a Ford, of course, won the race. This week they got beat by the Joe Gibbs racing cars for the most part, with Kyle Busch, Hamlin, and Truex running up front all throughout. So I wouldn't be too concerned yet if I'm Hendrick. It's still early in the season, and they have still won 3 races. Yes, not at the short ovals, but they've won 3 races this year and still been competitive at the others. But yeah, there is something to it. There is something interesting that they keep getting leapfrogged at these tracks.
I can say it as the Hendrick fan. All the cars are doing good so far. We got Bowman. Statistically, is having probably his best season so far. Four top 10s, 2 top 5s. Nearly 2 wins, but 1 win, and I think that's a really solid start for him. I was looking at Chase Elliott's stats. He's 1 top 5, 4 top 10s. Nothing to be concerned about. There's still a lot of tracks he will probably get a win at. Everyone else has a win. Blaney?
Blaney, yeah.
Blaney did.
He actually led the most laps in this
he
one.
did.
Because a lot of people were drawing comparisons to him in 2004-ish Ryan Newman, where he would get a ton of poles and then fall off in the race.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Blaney is, like, even when his car is good, his team lets him down. Like,
It's
every
either that
single week.
or
Phoenix.
the race just doesn't go his way. Yeah.
Pit crew choked him at Phoenix. I think it was Phoenix. Those final few stops.
Phoenix, yeah.
And he still led. He led 128 laps. He still finished 7th. Actually, aside from Martin Truex Jr., he scored more points in that race than anyone. So, like, points wise, I know it's probably too early to talk about points, but points wise, it's like he's looking pretty good. I'm looking at how
he's tied with Elliott, I think, for the points lead.
Yes,
Isn't he?
yes. And a lot of that is from the the early race success he's had so far this season. I think.
Yeah,
Stage points.
It's just the thing is he can clearly run up front all the time. It's just he just can't finish. Can't close a deal.
He's still good to get you a top 10, maybe top 5, but he's just not hitting on all cylinders to close out the races yet.
Yeah.
But kind of sticking with Blaney here, another driver now is going against Ross Chastain, and it is fun to talk about how aggressive Chastain might be, or Blaney and him getting together. But I have a 2-pronged approach with this one. One, I'm kind of thinking, well, Blaney's a pretty even keel guy, so it probably won't go anywhere. I'm not getting my hopes up just yet. I'm not gonna be like the TV providers who are like, they're about to kill each other every week. They're gonna knock each other's teeth in.
They're gonna fight,
but at the same time, Ross Chastain ain't getting any more friends out there. Like,
I love
it.
I think at this stage in his career, Chastain has to drive like this. He's worked really hard to get to where he's even at in the first place, and also, I kind of think Justin Marks and Pitbull like a drivers like that a little bit.
And honestly, like, this is exactly how Chastain's driven his whole career. I mean, having to like scrap and claw to get those top 20s back in the JD Motorsports days, and then getting those opportunities with bigger teams. Like remember Xfinity Series when they got that first opportunity with Chip Ganassi and DC Solar at Darlington. Him and Kevin Harvick got into it and stuff, and they were kind of, jawing at each other and stuff, going back and forth.
I like how Harvick said he's never going to get anywhere in NASCAR if he keeps driving like this. Well, now here is a Cup Series.
Yeah, but then he did a complete, 180, right?
Yeah, this last weekend, his comments about Chastain, I think he mentioned Briscoe as well. He was almost complimenting them for being aggressive, saying that that's how they're going to have great careers. I thought that was really interesting.
It's different when you're watching from afar and not being up there, being the one getting shoved.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, just one last thing, but watching the race, watch him move Blaney there for that. I think it was entering turns 3 and 4, I think, or one of them. But now watching that, I'm like, dude, Chastain, hey, you don't care, man, and he's really competitive this year, man. So hey, you better watch out.
One last thing, if I can say this, because we were talking about, the Byron being good all weekend, but then the Larson rallied to 5th, Bowman rallied to 8th. I'm actually impressed for both of those two guys, because at one point, I think Larson was down 31st. Bowman, I know, qualified 28th or something like that. He was actually a little bit lower than that. They were both looking pretty awful. One point, both a lap down. I don't know how they managed to do it, but I was actually really impressed by that.
Yeah.
And then my pick for the race completely tanked for Chase Elliott.
Well, we all did, because where was Reddick?
Oh, Reddick
was a no-show.
Yeah, he was a
no-show.
no-show.
He ended up at 10th or 12th, but it was.
And then Jeff Fabiano come in here and spanked us.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about Ross Chastain. I'm going to start calling him the melon monster, because he don't care. You'd think a week after Coda, he'd maybe lay low. No. I know I'm the aggressive guy, but this week, maybe I won't push anyone around. Immediately, Blaney just makes a small mistake early in the race. Boom, next corner, But what I'm surprised by was, I was actually a little surprised that Ryan Blaney quickly paid him back. That's what's going to take, I think, I think as fans, we enjoy seeing aggressive racing. It gives us more to talk about, more memorable moments. But I think a lot of the drivers do get frustrated by it, especially the veterans or the young guys who, I think Blaney's a fairly clean racer. At least that's, I feel like, the reputation he has. Some of them aren't as keen on this aggressive revolution. And it's going to take some of those guys. It's going to take Matt Kenseth stepping outside his comfort zone and paying Joey Logano back. It's going to take a Blaney punting Chastain immediately to kind of maybe send a message that that's not going to fly. I don't know. I think it's going to be a losing battle. I think ultimately with guys like Ty Gibbs and others coming into the Cup Series over the next few years, I think it's going to continue to be a dog aggressive world.
But the fans win at the end of the day.
That is true. But I just was surprised. I figured honestly, after he got bumped, I'm like, Blaney's not going to do anything. I didn't think he would. I was like, he's not going to poke the melon monster.
He did.
And he did. So maybe we'll see more and more of that. I think if Chastain's a fan favorite. And I don't remember where I heard this. It might've been Jeff Gluck's podcast this week. It might've been a different I don't remember where I heard this week, but somebody made the point that the reason Chastain is so well liked by fans is because he doesn't come across as hypocritical. He knocks people out of the way, but for the most part, at least, and maybe someone will point out an example I'm not thinking of, but for the most part, when he's been punted out of the way or knocked out of the way, he doesn't complain about it.
He's like, hey, I did it, but I'm going to give it back to you.
I think as long as, because he's going to get, Blaney's the first of many drivers who I think is going to knock Chastain out of the way at some point this year. And if Chastain starts complaining regularly, he's going to become the Denny Hamlin, the way Hamlin, gets booed a lot of times. That's how that's going to change.
You're right though. I mean, Chastain is someone who it's hard to not like him. Even at Coda, I should have been more upset at the way the guy I root for lost, but I can't be mad because I like Ross Chastain.
Yeah, I mean, it's a feel-good story. And then when you see a feel-good story, go from underdog to a potential championship contender somehow this year, I mean, and with a new team too, I mean, it's an all-around fan favorite. I love it.
Yeah, the thing that I think would really get fans, what would get fans against Chastain, I think, is if it became completely unwarranted, unnecessary contact, crashing people, whatever. And generally, while he does race people really aggressively, I can't think of a time where I'm like, why the hell did Chastain wreck someone on lap 3,
he knows when to do it and when not to do it, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him do too many moves where it's why is he doing it at this point in the race? Now for a young driver such as Ty Gibbs, we've seen, him do that on lap 4. So he still has some learning to do. But Chastain, I mean, I feel like he's already mastered this style of racing.
Well, and I don't think that what he did to Blaney was that egregious. It's a normal short track move. It's just Richmond normally hasn't produced that. I think that's why people were so damn surprised. So I mean, I'm excited for is to see when he has like nothing to lose, everything on the line. If he's like 20 points below the cutoff line at Martinsville in October, and it's like him and Elliott or him and Larson, like then I'm really gonna be interested in seeing how the fan response is gonna be. By the way, that was not a swear. That's mild. That doesn't count.
We know.
You're
No,
good.
You're
fine.
I'm getting called out for not, for swearing, even though I didn't. But we talked about him a little earlier with the Chastain deal back in 2018. But Kevin Harvick actually showed up this week.
Again,
it wasn't like he shuffled himself up there. He was one of probably the 5 or 6 best cars out there, and he actually for once this year got the finish he deserved for running that way. So, Darian, kind of lead us off. Do you think, because everyone's been talking how off Harvick's been the last year and a half, and he really hasn't. He's actually been really consistent. He just hasn't won. Do you think that we're going to kind of see, not maybe a 2020 Kevin Harvick, but at least more of a kind of resurgence Kevin Harvick?
I guess to start off, that just speaks to, the standard he had set, since joining Story Haas, winning a championship his first year. And then when they made the transition from Chevy to Ford, he was winning all those races and then winning 9 races in 2020, unfortunately not making the championship 4. But yeah, I mean, he's been consistent. I mean, he hasn't been terrible and stuff too. Now, if he, missed the playoffs entirely in 2021, it would be a much different story. But I'm like, he's running about sort of the same that he did last year. It's just like he wasn't, it just wasn't competing for a whole lot of wins here and there. But I mean, it's good to see him, run up front, up there again and stuff, And again, like, as a NASCAR fan and stuff, as a racing fan in general, I love seeing, records being broken and, different marks being set. Like, as of this, podcast, I mean, how many career wins does Kevin Harvick have? Like, what, in the 50s, right?
I think
58.
58.
Yeah, so 58. I mean, I'd like to see him get to 60, eventually and stuff. And, yeah, potentially maybe he could do that this year, judging from the Richmond run. But, yeah, we'll have to see.
We'll see how the season plays out. I mean, part of it's like you get scared. You start thinking of Jimmy Johnson from late 2017 to 2020. I mean, Johnson had a few good runs in 2020 where it looked like he could get the win, but didn't. So, we might be starting to enter that period with Harvick. I mean, he's been racing for a long time now at this point.
I mean, there's some similarities. I mean, Jimmy Hendrick Motorsports 2018, 2019, that was kind of their down years. So Jimmy Johnson, maybe a little past his prime. Car's not great, didn't win. Harvick, he's good still. I think he's still really good, obviously, but he is probably past his prime just a little. And the SHR team, they're not as good as they were 2 or 3 years ago, not even close. So there are similarities there. I think Harvick will win another race. I don't think 58 will be what he ends his career with, but the days of 8 and 9 wins are behind him. I was just looking up his stats because, aside from 2018 when he won 8 races, big 3, and then 2020 when he won 9, almost his whole career, he's 2, 3, 4 wins a season at most.
Right
that could be what we see this year. I think he wins. I think he could easily win 2 races.
I would say, granted, we don't know when he's going to call it quits. I would say it's possible for him to get 5 more wins in his career. I don't think 10. I think it's not, definitely not 10.
Yeah, I don't think he'll retire. Like when he retires, I could see him with like around 65, maybe 66 career wins of maybe, around that area, but like nowhere, like not 70 plus,
Like he's still gonna be good, but I do fear that 2020 was peak Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, that'll probably maybe.
And kind of looking at those stats that he has, like 2021, he didn't win, yes, but he had 10 top 5s and 24 top 10s. Like,
and he finished 5th in the points too.
He's had a streak since 2014. Every year he's been with SHR, he's had double-digit top 5s, and he has had 20 or more top 10s. Actually, the worst amount of top 10s he got in a season was his championship-winning season in 2014. But
of all seasons.
I want to point something out. I talked about it before the season, and it kind of seems like a meaningless stat with it. He currently is 6 races away with, if he finishes on the lead lap, 6 races away from tying and 7 races away from breaking Jeff Gordon's lead lap finish record of 588. Wow. So I think it proves too how relatively competitive he still is. To finish on the lead lap in a lot of cup races nowadays, whether it's through attrition or through like a really dominant car is still really impressive. He's finished on the lead lap in all but one race this year, and for the last 4 straight years, it's been 30 or more, which means 6 or less, which like last year 4, the year before 3, only 7 races or 8 races since 2019 has Kevin Harvick not been on the lead lap for. So like, he's still really competitive. I just think it's kind of the way that fans judge years now, based much more on wins. I just don't think he's being appreciated for how good he is. I still think that if that team course corrects just a little bit more, he could be an outside championship contender, especially with Phoenix being the last race.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. No, he's not out of it. I think last year, no, it was pretty clear early in the season SHR had no chance of rebounding to that extent. But this year, no, they're certainly still in the ballpark. And I'm just laughing at NASCAR_9 in the chat. Now, obviously, Chase Elliott fan here, but he says, Kevin Lethargic, Happy Meal Harvick, Steve Harvick. So the Harvick hate in our chat is alive and well.
So we get all the super chats too.
But then he immediately followed up with Ty Gibbs' early Xfinity favorite. We'll get to that, but kind of.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But I guess, listen, we talked about this before the show. We've talked about this the last 4, talking about, just overall with races in the broadcast. I don't want to go too negative with this tonight, and I'd rather want to talk about actually the really big positive. And I had brought this up before, and I'm so glad that Fox went with it. Having Chad Knaus in the booth, and it just so happened to be a very strategic filled race.
That was the perfect one for him.
That was perfect.
I want to ask you guys, would you be okay? What booth would you want with Mike Joy? Because I know we're kind of iffy on Boyer.
Okay, I will say this: as good as Knaus was, he is full time with Hendrick, and so is Gordon. I want them to stay full time with Hendrick. So that's all I'll say.
Gordon was full time with Hendrick even as a broadcaster as well.
But now they have more roles where I think they're better to stay committed to that part of it.
Me personally, I would love to see Tony Stewart. I wouldn't mind seeing Tony Stewart full time in the booth with Mike Joy. I mean, like his insight, and then obviously, him calling out NASCAR whenever he wants to is absolutely spectacular. And then I guess we're kind of iffy on Boyer and stuff, but if I were to replace him, I would probably put Larry Mack back in the booth with Stewart and Mike Joy.
That's probably my choice, at least based on the people we've had this year, be Joy, Stewart, and McReynolds, because you still need someone. My problem is too many folks in the booth this year, Kenseth, Knaus, even Danica, they sound a little afraid to speak, and Tony Stewart fits in this category as well. He's very monotone, kind of lurking in the background, and I think that's fine for middle portions of the race, but there are moments during the race where contact, dramatic finish, and they kind of shrink. You go back and listen to DW in his prime, Larry Mack in his prime, with Mike Joy, and it's a beautiful, they paint a beautiful picture. They add to the experience, and I haven't really gotten that from most of the people in the booth this year, but I think Larry Mack would be able to do that. So I think Larry Mack, Tony, and Joy would be awesome.
I actually really
in 2010 that finish always like it'll always irk me. I've brought this up before. The commentary of that finich always irks me because Mike Joy is giving this great, like, they're coming to the line side by side. And you just hear Darrell Waltrip. Oh! Like, I love DW in his prime, but
go back and listen to it.
Go back thinking of that and watch that finish after the show, and you will never see that finish the same way again.
This is the one with McMurray and Harvick?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're just...
Okay, it's been a while since I watched that, so I need to watch it.
Yeah, DW just goes, whoa! It's just...
That was the turning point. That was the halfway point of his broadcasting career, and it was...
That was that light bulb moment. I'm like, I'm not as big of a Darrell Waltrip fan as I used to be.
I always thought that when Loose Wheel left us, we lost DW's edge.
No, but
going back to the question though, out of the ones we've seen so far, I actually quite liked Kenseth the best personally. That's me. I don't know why, just something about him I liked. But I would like to see him. He was there in that same race. I would like to see for a full race Mark Martin get a chance.
Yes.
I don't know if he would do it for a full season, but I would like to see Mark Martin get a chance to show us what he's got for a full race commentary.
Yeah,
so I'd like to see Martin before I could fully judge him, because when he was in the booth, it was really fun to listen to. For me, just because I like the lead commentator to like have a handle on the broadcast, especially at the end, I would like to have two that sort of go back a little bit when it comes to the end of the race. So I would go, obviously Mike Joy, though if this is like after his career, because let's be real, the next 5 or 6 years he's probably going to step down. I'm being very generous there.
Yeah.
So Mike Joy, Chad Canals, just because I loved his insight and how in depth he went with it, and it made it feel like a professional broadcast and someone who could be at the professional level Mike Joy is. And then Matt Kenseth, just because yes, he did kind of be a little bit of a recluse at different points of the race, but I love his dry sense of humor, and that's the kind of humor I would love in a NASCAR broadcast.
Yeah, I was just curious. I started looking into it, and Mike Joy is actually 72 years old, which is the same age that Darrell Waltrip was when he retired from broadcasting. And then I was looking up Mark Martin's age. He's 63 years old, and ironically, so is Larry McReynolds. So they are still at an age where they could carry commentary for a good longer portion of time if they still wanted to.
I love that moment where Chad Canals is like, yeah, I don't know, like if I'd be too worried about a long run here. Usually at the start of the last stage, there's a caution within the first 10 laps from people in the middle of the pack, and then it's like it was like the 8th or 9th lap, there was a caution just like he called it.
Yeah.
And like Clint Boyer became, I feel like I don't know, maybe one of you guys said this too, but I felt like Clint Boyer completely self-owned himself without even realizing. He's like, these are my notes. And then it's like Chad Canals is sitting there with an encyclopedia of notes.
Well,
like, dude,
if you notice, he called it. It must be a crew chief thing because Larry McReynolds about calls that every time too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a crew chief thing.
I think it's just because Mike Joy, you could make an argument like between like him, probably Ken Squire, Alan Bestwick, Bob Jenkins. Between those four, you could make an argument. One, for that could be your Mount Rushmore, but two, like for best NASCAR announcers.
Mm-hmm.
So he's set. But I love somebody actually being at the same level as Mike Joy for once, and not just making it a clown show.
Yeah.
So refreshing.
Come on, Fox, take notes.
It's like I don't think Clint Boyer is as clowny as he's been made to be. I think Fox actually has him overemphasize it.
They're overemphasizing it because like I feel like he has a lot better insight than what the broadcast leads you to believe. And then the same thing with Larry Mack too. Like I mean I like his role and all and stuff but he's done some stuff for Fox Sports in the past, like these little promos and skits. I'm like, why do you put him in these like things or whatever? Let him do his thing. Talk about the racing and stuff. In a serious aspect.
If you go back and watch some interviews of Clint Boyer from like back in like 2007 when he was, winning the Busch Series championship, he was a very serious guy. Actually, he did not seem like the same Clint Boyer that I think Fox makes him come across as.
Yeah,
but you could tell he was hired to be entertainment. Like you said, Jared, he dunked on himself when he said, "This little whiteboard here with nothing on it, that's my notes." He's not taking notes. He's not supposed to. His role is to play a character, and that's the problem. And that's a decision that I think was made by the producers.
Yeah. Nah, I wanted to put a spotlight on that because there's so much wrong with the Fox broadcast this year. It's like when they do something right, I want people to say, "Hey, you did something right," and not just like, I never want it to wash into the rest of the, rightfully so criticism. But no matter what they did, either way, like it didn't affect the ratings badly at all this week.
No,
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
What were the ratings? I mean, go ahead.
I'm just curious. Do these ratings factor in pre-race stuff, or is it just can you skip that and it still counts?
It's just the race itself.
That's not, man.
Clearly, the watermelon seat skit didn't scare that many people.
Thank goodness.
I missed that, and like I just see Twitter blowing up, and I'm like,
no, I saw it, and I was just like, guys, this is. Yeah, let's talk about something positive.
We could fill another hour of the show if we get off topic.
Yeah.
Let's not go overboard.
Well, looking at the ratings, like I said, they were pretty good. A 2.3 rating for this race with 3.958 million viewers. Looking at some numbers here, it was up 27% in ratings and viewers over Bristol Dirt, which was race 7 last year, which was a
Was
Monday
on
race,
a Monday.
but it was also much higher than the last couple Bristol races around that time. And then looking at it compared to the last Richmond race, it was up 15% in ratings and 19% in viewers over the last Richmond race. And here is the one that I think is the most interesting, because this compares it to Bristol and Texas, which for some reason Texas draws in viewers. It was the most watched seventh race of the season since 2017 by 8%, and was almost close enough to be the first race since then to be over 4 million viewers at race 7. It was also more viewed than the 5th and 6th races of 2021 as well. So pretty good news there. I will point one thing out. I love the framing that Adam Stern put on it, where he's like, overall, ratings this year are up 16% over last year in the first 7 races. And it's like, you know, that's counting.
Daytona was rained. Yeah. Bristol was rained. Like, okay, oh, it's still good. Like,
the ratings, I will say, this year have been trending upwards comparatively. Over
Knock on wood, rain has been good so far.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed out that, I mean, most watched race number 7 since 2017. So this is the most watched race 7 in the post Dale Jr. era. So I'd say that's a win. That's
a W. Yeah, that's great.
So that, Jesus, I forgot 2017 is 5 years ago.
It feels like yesterday.
And we've made it. Our boys were retired from being competitive in 2017, and we're still here.
Yes.
We've really been doing YouTube that long.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, so good stuff there overall. You know, I don't know how much more we really have to add to it. It's good to see good ratings on it. I'm so glad the pre-race show isn't scaring too many people.
Yeah, and that was like my main concern. I put something on Twitter. I was like, is this like kind of hurting the appeal? But then I mean, to an extent, it's not. But
best thing I can tell people: play a video game before the race starts and turn the race on.
Yeah,
racing has just been so good this year. They'll sit through anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, that's how good the racing's been, you know. But I guess like a question we could be asking is, could it have been up even more if it, like if it were taken a little more serious too? I mean, that's up for debate.
I wish there could be an actual, like, I wish we could get data on, like, what portion of NASCAR's existing audience likes the current pre-race and Fox coverage versus I wish there's a way to measure like potential NASCAR fans.
Well,
how do they want broadcast?
Let's ask the NASCAR Fan Council.
Let's not do that. No,
let's not do that.
Do you like when we have silly skits on our pre-race shows? If there is a pre-race show, or do you like not watching NASCAR?
Yeah, that's exactly how it would be phrased.
That would be phrased. That I don't know. It's just again, I'm happy the ratings are up and stuff. I mean, that's good, but again, the presentation is something that I feel like just needs to be looked at. I'll put it like this: like I don't know. Whenever I see these skits, popping up on the pre-race show and stuff, when I'm trying to to find out about insightful stories about the drivers and stuff, like that interview they did with Ross Chastain talking about how he had to come up and stuff, that was awesome. I'm like, dude, yes, can it mainly focus on that? But whenever these freaking skits are playing, I'm like, it feels like it's like some sort of high school talent night to me. It's just why are we why are we doing all this stuff? Like, you guys obviously, like, that's not your thing.
The same effort that went into filming Watermelon Seed Man could have been put into bringing in AJ Allmendinger to ask, like, what really did it feel like to finish second in that race?
They could have asked him, like, hey, like what was the deal with you and Chastain there? Because they were teammates. Like, that could have been like an interesting story to play during the pre-race show, but they didn't. They chose
or get the POV of Allmendinger, Bowman, all the ones who's up there at the end of it.
I don't want to go on and on about this too much, but again, just like ratings are up, that's great, but again, let's revisit the presentation.
Test, I think, will be this week with Martinsville being on FS1.
Because it's on FS1. I was about to say.
I think that's going to be the real test right there.
And it being on Saturday night, whereas most NASCAR fans usually know, race on Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be interested in. If the ratings go up with it switching to FS1, and then I believe after that it's like Bristol and Talladega back to back, I'm going to feel pretty comfortable,
Yeah.
But you know what else I felt comfortable with?
Let me pull it up just to be sure.
We tee you up, man.
The pole, the famous iceberg pole.
I'm good from now on. It's time for guys. It's time for pole.
Pole, the famous iceberg. No, because remember I messed up when I hosted, so I just wanted to be sure.
We tee you up every week.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure this time though. I was like, wait a minute.
Anyway, yes, the poll is this week, as it is every week. Poll.
Poll.
And looking at the poll right now, we had 13.6 thousand votes this week. 37% of you, or 12% of you said it was a great race. 37% of you said it was a good race. So 49% positive. First race this year we've had under 50% positive. Most of that went to the average category of a 41%. 6% said below average, and 4% said bad. Looking right now at some of the comments, the top comment at the moment is from Doc_Lightning. It was a good race. I love seeing all the tire strategies throughout the race. It was refreshing to see since we didn't see as many of those anymore. Solid 7 out of 10. Bobby Blair says that was a classic strategy race. Solid racing throughout the pack. Passing was hard but not impossible. It was just classic short track racing. Honestly, kind of refreshing that we actually got an interesting strategy race with a thumbs up. And then the third comment, and then I'll start going through some other ones from BMaster45. I usually don't like the races like that, but it was very strategical. I liked seeing the different strategies play out. So if you compare this from how we talked about races back in 2018, strategy is now in fashion.
Yeah.
Looking at some of these other ones. Ooh, this one draws my attention. Ice Car. It says great race and great green flag racing. No caution and yellow flag restart, but clean green flag with green flag pit stop. So there's so many of the same words. And they make sense.
Great.
I just can't read well. The English is still difficult.
Eric, what color's behind Eric?
I'll be well. Green. Sorry,
are you colorblind?
No, I did.
Oh,
I know people who are, but no, I didn't have the tab up. I'm reading from a different one. But yes, I see what Ice Car is saying. I swear there are negative ones. Trust me, there were plenty of negative ones that they looked at. Chuck says I didn't agree with the call to stay out from the 24 team. I felt they should have pitted, and they honestly would have locked in the win. I think they could have, but that strategy almost paid off.
It was close.
It was, 5 laps shorter.
They just need, because he lost the lead with 5 or 4 laps to go. So it was close.
I see this man in the chat here that Charles Peterson Jr. is talking about. Says we're never going to hear the end of this from Denny Delivers.
No.
Let's see. I'm looking for the negative ones. I swear, those ones are always the funny ones.
Well, Denny Delivers was actually relatively tame. Surprisingly, I didn't hear too much from him about this one.
He was going crazy on Twitter.
He's in the chat right now.
He's like, we won.
This one's a little less positive here. Drew Mobley says the tire strategy saved that race. They made it interesting.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. If thanks, because of the whole strategy part, aspect during that race and stuff, it got me more invested. But I'll be honest, there were parts where I'm like, during stage 1 and 2, where I'm like, come on, guys, do something. I do appreciate the green flag racing and stuff, and they were racing, but me personally, Richmond, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, though.
48 Nation says unexpected ending, but mostly an average Richmond race. The crowd and the racing says to me that this race deserves one date moving forward, to be honest. Chicagoland sitting there.
It's sitting there.
Yeah. Just saying, ISC owns them both. Anyway, looking at some
Proper
of these other ones.
off.
We didn't get a.
I like how even in your fantasy, it's still going away.
Yeah.
I've accepted it. I've accepted that Chicagoland and Joliet, it won't mesh, but we need a proper send-off. We need a full weekend where it doesn't rain. There isn't the storm of the century rolling through.
And the campgrounds don't sink in, right?
Yeah, and there's not basically a sideways facing tornado rolling in, stop.
Those are the worst.
And if they have the Ferris wheel again, don't run it during a lightning delay.
You guys would, honest to God, be so surprised at how many times we've had giant ass storms come in. Again, not a cuss word, can say that. And they just rotate on their sides.
It's keep going.
I met Rusty Wallace in a storm. basically, back in 2007. Like it's actually a pretty interesting story. I should tell it sometime. Not today though.
Nice.
Do it in a video. You'll make money off of it.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. Sunshine Cool Water says, felt like a marathon. NASCAR really needs to cut the length of some races. Real Radman will be a fan of that. Let's go to some of the bottom ones because those are always comedic. And then I'll. So Tommy Wilson has a one-word description. It says boring.
Aw.
Brandon Ferris says, a good finish can't save what a crappy race this was. Honestly, it was so boring, I decided to switch and watch most of the Portland versus LA Galaxy. Like that's soccer.
Oh, MLS. You watch
Soccer?
MLS.
Oh, no.
Cito, you can tell this is right after the race. Cito Brown, I hope he fails post-race inspection. Well, he didn't.
He did not.
Owen Roberts, second sucks. Joe Gibbs fan, boring as hell. But he's not as much a Joe Gibbs fan as a Truex fan, so I can understand why he's saying that. A lot of other cuss words in there. All right. Now I'm going to read you guys off. I want you to say positive or negative. First comment from William Anderson.
Oh, negative.
Positive.
Negative.
Eric. Yeah, it says negative too.
It's one word. Mid.
Oh, okay. That's okay. It was the mid. Okay. So
That's literally mid.
It's
neutral,
literally right
yeah.
on the fence.
It's neutral. So it's neat. It's not. So we're all wrong.
I framed that up so well. I was like, man, this is good. Anyway, yes.
That's a good
Thank you guys all for voting on the poll. There will be a poll more hopefully at the end of the Martinsville race. Depends on what the Wi-Fi looks like because I'm gonna be out there this weekend. But I'll put it up ASAP after the race. So be sure to vote on that, and we'll just do that the rest of the year. It's pretty fun with me.
Nice.
But Cup wasn't the only one. I know we went on for a while about that one, but Cup wasn't the only race that happened this past weekend. We had the Xfinity race, and I just want to get right into it. Eric, you talked to him. You posted that today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put the question out there: fair or foul with how Ty Gibbs raced his teammate John Hunter Nemechek?
So it reminded me in a lot of ways of how the end of, I think it was 2018 Fall Martinsville in the Cup Series played out, with Truex leading, Logano leading, Truex catching him, racing him cleanly for a number of laps, eventually completing the pass. And the very next corner got bumped out of the way, and Logano beat him for the win. Logano didn't wreck Truex; he just bumped him out of the way. And I said at the time, that it's short track racing. I guess all is fair in short track racing, but it felt like kind of a cheap shot. The guy raced you clean for 10 laps, and you had to immediately knock him out of the way. That's kind of how this Ty Gibbs incident with John Hunter Nemechek felt. I know they made a little bit of contact earlier in the run when they were battling each other, but Gibbs ran a great race, was leading. Nemechek eventually was able to run him down. Gibbs made a couple mistakes, allowed Nemechek to sneak by pretty cleanly, and then almost immediately used the bumper, and then, as John Hunter Nemechek said, missed the corner and just drove through him in the final turn. I thought the initial bump and run to get alongside Nemechek was perfectly fair. I thought that's short track racing, and you come to expect that from Ty Gibbs, especially in the closing laps. I think most any driver should do that in that situation. You'd expect it. But I think 3 and 4, driving up the track, basically completely taking Nemechek out of contention, I thought that was pushing it like that. I think if you're John Hunter Nemechek, you have a right to be upset. And I know people are going to say Nemechek's done stuff before, but in that moment, in that instance, in this race, I feel like Ty Gibbs got the final shot in on Nemechek, and Nemechek never really had a chance to defend it. So I understand him being frustrated, but I also understand Ty Gibbs, as he told me this week, a win matters a lot. And even though he's not part-time anymore, he is full-time racing these guys every single week. He's also racing for a championship. And 5 playoff points are valuable to winning these races. So there's a fine line to walk. I think this was on that line, but it's a short track. I'll cut him some slack. I certainly think 3 and 4 was a little far. I would have liked, he runs up a little bit into him, fair enough. But running him completely up, basically 3 lanes higher, I don't know. To me, that wasn't great. That it was a little bit of a cheap shot. I think anyone could admit that it was a little cheap.
Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It was fair to a certain point. Definitely everything except for kind of hitting me on the door was fair. But at the same time, I did see some people say that they didn't understand why people was mad about Ty Gibbs' move when Chastain kind of won in similar circumstances. But I don't know, you can compare apples to oranges there all you want, but in the end, Ty Gibbs proved he wanted it more. So that's all I can say.
The reason fans are mad at Ty Gibbs more is because, like, I mean, this is another, sort of thing. I mean, obviously, the Las Vegas incident with Ryan Sieg turned some fans off from him, I guess. I mean, he did apologize. I mean, he did talk to Ryan Sieg, straight up, man to man and stuff. Like, hey, he explained his side of the whole deal and stuff. And but I mean, like, when it comes to the Richmond thing, just that Richmond finish. I mean, hey, sometimes things in racing are unfair. Hey, sometimes you'll get moved out of the way for a win, especially at a short track such as Richmond. And yeah, I mean, like, I understand, John Hunter Nemechek being upset. It's like, yeah, he raced him clean and stuff. And it, looked like he was about to score the victory there had he not, moved him out the way. The first bump and run when coming off of turn 2, I thought, yeah, that was fair. But then to Eric's point, when, that's way different than, the turn 3 move when he just, moved him, what was it, like 2 or 3 lanes up? That's right. I can understand. I can understand why some, fans were mad at that move and stuff. But I mean, again, it goes back to that interview you had with him recently, Eric. I mean, sometimes, he even said, like, hey, sometimes you have to be selfish and stuff. And, he is racing for a championship. He needs to secure those playoff points. I get all that. But yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes in stock car racing sometimes, sometimes you'll have those moments. But I will talk about this for a brief moment. Like, yeah, the whole argument where it's like, well, didn't John Hunter Nemechek like run Cole Custer off the road at Canadian time? I mean, like, guys, like, what was that, 2015? I'm sure he's learned from that and he'll probably never do that again. But yeah, Ty Gibbs, I had said after the Vegas fiasco, with Ryan Sieg, like, yeah, he still has to learn when to race aggressive and when not to. I feel like he is, and maybe this might be I mean, he still won though. That's the thing. So it's like
it's hard to take this as like a learning experience when he's winning. That's
what I'm saying.
We were talking about this before the show. Like, it's tough. Like I think Ty Gibbs, he's learning a lot. But it is hard to have those like heart-to-hearts with a guy who's just winning everything. He's won 7 of his first 25.
Yeah,
he's winning at Kyle Busch level.
Who can tell him anything?
Yeah, who can tell him not to do what he's been doing?
Toby Christie told me that makes Ty Gibbs winning 28% of his Xfinity races so far in his career.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, he's been spectacular since entering again, won on his debut at a freaking road course in 2021. I mean, that says it all right there. It
will be very hard to see him not win this championship this year, in my opinion.
Yes, but I will say that at the same time, I'm not discounting whatsoever how talented he is, but JGR, like the cars, like, I was looking in here. I want to ask you guys, just as like kind of a not a trick question or poll question, but how many laps did a non-JGR car lead in that race? And if you know, don't answer, but just take a wild guess.
I think I might know.
69.
Nice, but no.
1.
Yes.
Wow.
Josh Berry. They led 249 laps between Ty Gibbs and John Hunter Nemechek. It wasn't even close. So it's like,
and Josh Berry only led because of pit stops. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and I think it was maybe like a caution or something. Is just how they shuffled out.
He beat someone to the line on a restart.
Maybe. But it's like, I'm going to be really interested to see when Ty Gibbs doesn't have the best car out there. And again, it's nothing against his talent level. We've seen drivers go in those JGR cars, and it's, they absolutely stink up the show, or they run bottom half of the top 10 and are not competitive whatsoever. So, like, he has the talent. He's running like Kyle Busch does. I'm going to be really interested though when he has a car that's the same as the other cars, or at a similar level, or maybe below some. Like, I'm going to be interested how he would overcome that. Because let's be real, we all know whether it's next year or the year after, he's more than likely going to the Cup in the next 2 years.
It's happening.
4 years at most.
I think someone even suggests that Truex might get Kenseth in a way.
Oh, he very well could. He
Yeah.
sounds very unsure about it. He sounds like Matt Kenseth did in 2017. But no, I think Joe Gibbs Racing, they should put Ty Gibbs in a Cup car next year, if at all possible, because the longer we wait with this next gen era, the more time all these other drivers are going to get experience with it. And like the Xfinity cars are just so different now.
I think if they can do it, get a fifth number 81 for a few races.
Or put him in a 2311 car.
Something like that. Kind of like 2013.
Like
I think Elliott Sadler was in that car.
They can run him in 5 races for Joe Gibbs Racing, more for Denny Hamlin.
I don't think they can do a fifth car with Joe.
Not
Gibbs
a fifth, not a fifth full time. Not a fifth full time.
I don't think they can even do
like
part time anymore.
Wait, no. I'm saying they could run him in 5 races. They could do that, right?
I'm not sure they might. I don't think they can.
I don't remember that rule changing, but I know that's what they did with like Elliott. So
I feel like it changed in the last 2 or 3 years, but I may be mistaken.
Either way, put him into basically Joe Gibbs car with 2311's name on it.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Jared. I am very interested in seeing, because like when he gets to Cup, he's obviously not going to have the best car in the field anymore. So I'm really interested to see how he would run in the midfield and how he would race others.
I'm really curious just how he would mature emotionally and mentally, because I think he's getting there. Talking to him, he talks about how he deals with criticism and everything, and how he's learned to overcome a lot of that and deal with that better. But I still think, if he goes into Cup next year and goes winless as a rookie, like, is he going to get down on himself? Is that going to kill all confidence?
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
But he is so young still, and he's never had to overcome that. He's won half of his ARCA starts, half of his K&N starts, a fourth of his Xfinity starts. He's never lost. What happens when he does lose for the first time?
Personally, as long as he's in the best Cup equipment, he's actually been one. We know this. He's been very high on the next gen car and what it was bringing, and he was looking forward to driving the next gen car. So it'd be hard to see him not get 1, maybe 2 wins his rookie season.
He's never driven the next gen car, and all these other guys are getting a whole year in it. So that's why I think they should get him in the next. I kind of wish they'd gotten him in the next gen car this year. I know he needs a full Xfinity season to really get experience and stuff, but like, I just feel like the longer we go, the more time Logano, Keselowski, these guys are going to get experience in these cars that Gibbs doesn't have.
They should find 5 races this season and get him in there.
Yeah, they should get him. Yeah, get him in there ASAP.
That might make more sense as to why, at least according to what we were saying at the end of last year, why they kind of rushed Harrison Burton up into the Wood Brothers car, even though that car wasn't going to be taken by Austin Cindric.
He has to learn the car.
That does make a little bit of sense. Like, even though, like, let's be real, Harrison Burton has not been good whatsoever, he's still getting that seat time. Like, and he needs that. And he would be that year behind that Ty Gibbs is going to be, if he even comes next year.
With Harrison Burton now being in the Ford camp and actually running the Hunt Brothers pizza car or pizza truck at Dirt Bristol, I'd actually throw his name being with Ford. We would say Ryan Preece is going to replace Eric Almirola, but Harrison Burton might even be a guy to watch out for to replace Kevin Harvick down the road.
Maybe.
Yeah, but when it comes to this next gen car, though, I mean, like, back to the old Ty Gibbs thing and stuff, like Ross Chastain had mentioned, like, something that helps him is getting as much seat time as possible, whether it be in another series or in the next gen, the next gen car. So, Ty Gibbs, like, I feel like, if, the whole worst case scenario with him, if he were to run full time in Cup next year, if he doesn't score a win, I think at the very least he would still be a playoff driver, a guy who could at least point his way in. But if things don't go his way, yeah, Eric, I do agree. It is going to be very interesting if he'll have enough emotional maturity to, to deal with these issues and to figure it out. Because, yeah, I mean, up to this point, I mean, he's won in everything he's been in. Like when we first had him on the podcast, I mean, he was dominating in the ARCA series. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's winning in his Xfinity debut. And I don't think any of us expected that to happen at the time.
He never ran a truck race, but he doesn't need to.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Well, and if we're going to stick with young drivers here, I want to point out, Sam Mayer this past week, just kind of sticking in this vein, Sam Mayer won the Dash for Cash by finishing third, and he's looked pretty competitive, when he's not ended up getting crashed.
I don't know the 2020 stats for Dash for Cash, but this also made 5 consecutive Dash for Cash races that Junior Motorsports has won.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
I had said last year in 2020, I was like, okay, just give this guy some time. Just let him get some more starts under his belt. He's going to get better and stuff. And yeah, there were parts of, last season during the 2021 season, we were like, dang, like he can't finish a race yet. But then you see some glimpses of talent. For example, at the Charlotte Roval, where him and Ty Gibbs, they were battling for second there at the end, So, and, this year he's put up some solid runs. And then obviously that third place finish, that was his first career Xfinity Series top 5. And he happens to win 100,000 with this. So that's overall a pretty good day, And now we're going back to a Martinsville where, Actually, no, that wasn't his first career top 5. No, I'm sorry. It was his first top 5 this year, but he finished 4th at Martinsville last year. That's right. So yeah, so it's like either, I think it's second or third or whatever it is. But the point is, he's coming off of a third place finish, $100,000 in the bank, and now he's headed to a track that he is familiar with, that he did run at, and a track that he finished in a top 5 at, and in a car that was basically like, it looked like it was like sawed in half, man. It was basically almost all gone. He was involved in a wreck earlier, and he was able to drive it back up front. So, I'm not saying that Sam Mayer is going to be like a championship contender all of a sudden, because to be honest, I feel like Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs are the 2 clear favorites so far this season. Mm-hmm. But I really think that, if he can, continue these strain of runs and stuff, maybe, just maybe, he could be in the conversation for perhaps a championship 4 appearance. Maybe.
We'll see. I think it's going to take a little bit before then, because he's done better at short tracks. But I would really like to point out 2 people who were really good in this race and deserve a shout out. One, Ryan Sieg showed up and was actually in the top 5 racing for a while, and then Parker Retzlaff got a top 10 in his second start.
I think that's the iRacing guy, right?
I think that one.
He's in the Coke Series, isn't he?
That one plays into his driving style a bit better.
Yeah, and hey, I saw a few people on Twitter after that top 10 run be like, "Hey, where's this guy's full-time ride?" I want to see him run some more races, but I mean, yeah, to get a top 10 in that car though, that's still great.
If he can get a sponsor, I mean, Junior seems like I can put him in the 88 for a race.
Yeah, and competitive equipment, I want to see what he can do. But yeah, I mean, hey, the potential's there.
See, who said that Richmond was boring? We took over an hour to talk about.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
We do that every week. Somehow we could talk about marble racing for an hour. We'd make it work.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
Stretch it out, dude. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's.
I think we even got hour conversations out of the Pro Invitational series.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember those days. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to remember those.
Thank God.
Something really memorable, though, just about every show every week is you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome and help fund this show. And so, does somebody have the stopwatch ready?
I can do it.
Yeah, give me 3 minutes. Just give me a 3, 2, 1. I'll start reading them.
All right, ready when you are.
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
First one from Lord Voldemort for $1.99 says the Dark Lord will be at Martinsville booing Kevin Harvick.
Oh, here we go again. I told you.
I don't think he'll be alone.
Kevin Harvick memes are back.
Groovy Goose, thank you for the $4.99, says Groovy Take. Don't mind Gibbs' move. At least he didn't wreck Nemechek and had him end up in 20th. Not saying Nemechek likes it though. Spin the UFO. Gotcha. Looking at Stephen D for $10 says this is for Eric. Just want to thank you for getting me back into NASCAR. I was out of it for a while and stumbled on your channel when I was going through some rough times, and your videos helped me.
Thank you, Eric.
Well, that's very kind. I appreciate that.
That is awesome.
That's cool.
Alex D. Piazza, I think is how you say his name, for $5 says 2 questions. 1, what are each of your personal dream cars? And 2, will any of you be at Dover this year? Keep up the great work with the podcast. Real quick, dream car, Steve Run, let's go.
Lambo.
A NASCAR Gen 4 stock car. I don't know. I don't have one.
TRD Pro Tundra.
I don't know why, but I've always loved the way the 2007 Monte Carlos looked, especially the Monte Carlo SS.
Would you wrap it like a race car?
Oh, yes.
As far as Dover, no, but strangely, I really want to go next year for some reason.
Yeah, we won't be at Dover, but
I won't be at
yeah,
Dover.
maybe.
We got a little backlash from last week here. Isaac for the 199 says hashtag Ratatouille is the best Pixar film.
Well, no, it's like second.
It's
third,
not.
but-
It's one of the best.
Yes.
I put myself in the doghouse with not only Eric but also my girlfriend for saying that. So.
Oh, there he is. There
He's
he
still
is.
here.
He's back.
Did you have to watch the Rat movie?
No, actually I didn't.
That sounds like you lost.
No, I talked my way out of it.
That's an L.
I think this is a complete win. Alex Viviero says 3 things are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and the Fox pre-race show being horrible. All right, Jar Jar. I gotta do my Jar Jar Binks here for $4.99.
Here we go.
Visa races Friday and Saturday gonna be moi cold. Misa gonna screw it. Misa gonna be there. Misa gonna boo doo head Harvick. Misa think Jarrett wants to meet Misa. Yeah, I'll meet you, Jar Jar. Just
I'll meet you. But
you gotta do a
lay
perfect
off-
Jar Jar voice, like.
and lay off of
Better be in a
Harvick, man.
mask.
Like, okay, don't walk up and say who you are. Just say it in the voice. Just say hello in the voice, and he'll know who you are.
I will immediately know.
Yeah.
Avatar Cora here says the Avatar issues a statement stating the Avatar will be at Martinsville. The Avatar is looking to, well, you spelled booing. I'm gonna assume you said booing the hypocrite
And
cheater
time.
boy Kevin Harvick. And yeah. Well, I hope I meet you, Avatar Cora. We'll read the rest of those episodes of the show. It was funny because like the right before we went to Super Chats, the Super Chat tab completely disappeared on my end. I had to, like, pull up
YouTube.
that thing. So
YouTube, come on,
Yeah,
stop
we'll get to-
messing up on us.
we'll get
Got to go
the
to that
rest.
one page.
Yeah, we'll get to the rest at the end of the show. But we also have to thank our sponsor for this week, Lionel. The lightning round coming up is brought to you by Lionel Racing, the official diecast in NASCAR. You can order the new 2022 diecast of any driver, your favorite, least favorite. Maybe you'll order a Harvick one now at LionelRacing.com or any Lionel retailer. For instance, Walmart is where there's a lot of them. And guys, what do you guys have this week?
Let's start off with Eric because I've never seen a Junior Bud car like that before.
Liquid Color 2004. Here you go. It's not an 07, but here's a Monte Carlo for you, Jarrett.
Hey.
Looks pretty snazzy. I mean, I this is one of the only Dale Jr. diecasts I have, and when I saw it in Liquid Color, I had to scoop it up because that almost like a ruby red just looks delicious.
Yes, it looks nice. Mine is from 2008. I've always loved this car of Tomorrow's Scheme of his inaugural season with Hendrick Motorsports, his 2008 National Guard Chevy. Almost won at Richmond in the springtime, but then Kyle Busch happened. But hey, it still looks good nonetheless.
I always forgot how loud those wheels are when they get rattled around on those winter circle cars.
Could you hear them?
Yeah, I can hear them rattling.
Duh, that's great.
I've also, there's a trend here. Dale Jr., this is the last car I got to see him race at Martinsville Fall 2017, the gray Ghost car. And this did not have the Monster Energy logos on there for obvious reasons, and I was able to add those through a guy who makes stickers for them to make it more authentic. And cool thing about authentic, they keep since it was at Martinsville where he drove this, they took out the right side passenger window.
Nice. See, that happened with mine right here for his Richmond car from last year. The United for America Unilever car. This was, of course, raced on the, I believe, 20th anniversary of 9/11 was last year. Really awesome to see that race in person. And it's one of the cars that is on my, is now slowly but surely becoming a bucket list of being at every Dale Jr. race. And, of course, yeah, got to do it.
Yeah, you gotta do the bump draft kick.
Bump draft.
I don't want to break my camera though, so I'll only do it once. But
Yeah.
really quick, so like Eric, you're out of the loop again. The last time it was the Tony Stewart diecast. This time, where's your junior shirt? Where's your junior shirt, bro?
Hey, opening day is I think tomorrow for most teams. So yes, I'm wearing.
Oh wait,
the
baseball's
Astros.
back tomorrow?
Yeah, baseball is back tomorrow, and for all you haters,
It should have been back already though, right?
it's just like a week late. But for all you haters, I saw some of y'all in the chat cry about it.
But how
Making it
many
60.
World Series though? How many World Series?
I've been to 3 of them. That's a couple. They've got 3
Okay,
pennants.
that's not bad. That's not bad.
They'll win. They'll win for
How
another.
many of those actually counted?
Oh, my
At
Let's,
least 2 of them.
Let's
At
not get
least
into
2
this.
of them.
Let's not get into
Let's
this
not
right
do
now.
it. Let's not do it.
Hey, okay, back to the subject at hand. Alex, who? Junebugs racing, baby.
Woo!
That's right.
Yes. Well, thank you to Lionel for sponsoring the NASCAR weekly podcast every week. And
Thank you.
I think, Derry, do you hear that? Do you hear it? I think I can hear it. What is it?
Hear something? Y'all hear it? The lightning round of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jared, what do we have on tap for tonight?
Not your mic. That wasn't on.
I wish it didn't break because you sound like you reached new levels on that
Oh
one.
man! Wait, can y'all still hear me normally?
Yeah,
You
they
reached
hear
into
you.
your
Okay.
soul and pulled that
I
one
did.
out.
Yes, I did. But Jared, what do we have on tap for tonight?
Well, we actually have some pretty good stuff, at least on the Tennessee front. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has proposed a state budget that includes $17 million on renovations for the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway alone so that it can help lure NASCAR back to the track, according to
Oh yeah.
So
let's go.
things are coming together.
Yes,
Where
they
things
are.
have not come together in a long time is Chicagoland Speedway. But Joliet and those working at the Chicagoland Speedway are actually keeping up in the track, hiring staff, and are actually in open discussions with NASCAR on a return to the track if they're going to be serious about coming back or if the plans with the Chicago Street Course fall through, which there have been no updates. This is from their local news station.
Please make it happen.
Something that I know is going to become an issue, but I'm going to say it here anyway. There will be only advanced paid parking for the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway. I don't know why you would enjoy this state.
It's not good. Not good.
And
man.
you won't enjoy this state when you can't enter the track because you didn't get your prepaid parking. So get prepaid parking. Tell all your friends. Tell anyone you know who's going.
Okay. I just want to know because I'm still struggling to figure it out because like at Bristol Motor Speedway, there are parking places that aren't owned by the Speedway.
Mhm.
Is that the case here at all?
Well, it's
Is
in
it
the
private?
Hopefully.
Like stuff is built around the track. Like actually you can see it from the interstate. Like one part of the track is actually flanked by like 3 or 4 different interstates flying through.
Whoa.
So it might be difficult to find different places unless it's a parking
hopefully-
garage where they'll probably charge you more.
Hopefully something's available because
But
that's an odd strategy.
I just want
It's-
to say
it's-
that.
it's- I will say it's not that expensive. It's only $20 per day. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say that because I know that we're probably going to run into another Nashville Super Speedway fiasco.
Yeah,
and this
'cause
place
I-
holds double capacity.
my
Ruby
thing,
Goose says, "Enjoy Illinois more like Fire Festival."
my thing is they're not gonna get the word out enough of it. That's all.
No.
Yeah. Well, something that it is good to talk about here is Rick Ross now is in possession of a Jimmy Johnson COT car, and he damn near
Dude.
spun the
In
thing out.
possession of.
Yeah.
Dude, he has like his own farm and stuff, and now he has a NASCAR. Yeah, he has his own farm, bro. He owns like cows and stuff. Like,
Did you
cows.
just call it?
Yeah.
Darren? Did you just call it a NASCAR?
Oh, a stock car! No, I'm not a real NASCAR fan. Oh, I called it a NASCAR. I'm sorry, guys, but yes, he owns a stock car. A stock car.
Well,
Then he almost spun it out.
this one is funny because a lot of people our age didn't know this still existed, but Yahoo is actually partnering with Toyota Racing Development and has announced a multi-year agreement, including primary sponsors and schemes with Toyota-backed teams like JGR, KBM, Venturini Motorsports, and Keith Kunz?
Keith Coons.
Keith
Okay.
Kunz Motorsports. So Yahoo will be around a while. So yes, it is around.
Such a 2000 sponsor.
Yeah.
It really
The
is.
purple car looks nice. Looks
It
pretty
does.
clean on Bell.
But remember Yahoo, they sponsored a Busch Series car back in the day.
Yep.
Tina Gordon. I remember that. Tina
Yep.
Gordon.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
then-
fun trivia fact.
Been a minute.
Finishing this one off, I know that Eric likes this. Matt Kenseth has been added to the class of 2023's NASCAR Hall of Fame ballot.
Yeah, you better be a first ballot.
I watched him riding that midway. He was very happy to ride that.
You better be a first ballot, bro.
Had to throw that in there. No, I think it's funny that they're kind of like sort of bending their own definition of the rules and moving him up like a year so that likely next year Jimmy Johnson and Chad Kanowski get voted in together.
Well,
Fair enough. I appreciate it.
I think they're going off of 2020. He had no plans to be full time. He was more of a relief driver.
He ran like the whole schedule though. I mean,
Yeah, and let's be real. This is NASCAR. When have they not played fast and loose with the rules?
Yeah.
this is an instance where it's harmless and I'm happy about it because it gives Kenseth the chance to go in on the first ballot, which I think he deserves. Hopefully they vote him in. You just never know. Things get wacky, gets political, but I hope he gets voted in
Well,
the
I mean,
first time.
the talk this week about the Logano incident. Like,
Yeah, I did a video this week because I just thought it was interesting hearing like guys like Bob Pockrass, who he's not explicitly saying this is going to prevent him from voting for Kenseth, but just him mentioning that he thinks that it could be considered by the voting panel that the Logano incident might cause people to wait a few years to vote. I don't know how widespread that idea is. I hope it's not.
I would not let one bad few weeks in 2015 affect a career of good accomplishments.
Guys, there have been drivers that have done worse too, and
we always go back and compare this to it, but I just find it so funny how everything around 2012 and 2013 controversy wise with Jeff Gordon just gets swept under the rug.
Yeah,
we're just gonna ignore the fact that he basically did an attempted murder on Clint Boyer at Phoenix. We're gonna ignore the fact that he was unjustly added to the playoffs because it was unfair how he got.
He was first ballot though too. Yeah,
Dude,
so
if it didn't affect Gordon, it shouldn't. It shouldn't affect.
When Kyle Busch is ultimately eligible, are we gonna just say no because of what he did to Ron Hornaday in 2010?
Yeah,
it set a weird
precedent. Culture we had to hold everything people did 20 years ago against him.
Ugh. But no, Matt Kenseth's first ballot, and if he's not, then I don't know what to tell you.
I appreciate you guys saying that. I think fans can vote. Go to NASCAR.com and vote just to ensure that he at least gets one vote for the Hall of Fame.
Because you don't understand, Gordon had a brake issue.
And Kenseth blew a tire.
Yeah.
Hey, exactly.
Well, hey, more. Whenever Kyle Larson is eligible, are we going to hold 2020 against him?
No, I hope not. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Hey,
he's got to win more races first. He's a champion. I guess. What if Larson doesn't win any more races? Is he a Hall of Famer? He's got 15
wins.
He's a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
He's got how many? Hold on, I actually have this. I have this actually on my phone. I can tell you how many wins Kyle Larson has because I think
it's
guy.
It's more than
17. It's more than 10. Right?
14, I think. 14 to 15.
Kyle Larson currently has 17 career wins. He's tied with Marvin Pant and Curtis Turner, and is ahead of guys like Ernie Irvin, Chase Elliott, Tim Richmond. Well, that's not. Donnie Allison, Clint Boyer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's right behind guys like Neil Bonnet, Jeff Bodine, Harry Gant, Casey Kane, and Ryan Newman.
Who are not in the Hall of Fame yet, but Larson has a championship.
Dell Jr. finished with what, 25 wins?
26. He finished with 26.
26.
So there is a chance if Larson does what he did last year, he could tie or pass Junior this year.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a long time before we see a 10-win season again.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
But anyway, that was the lightning round.
Conclude the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now back to the show.
Went from Darian to a Slipknot song to Out of Breath.
We heard guttural.
We heard this, Darian.
I was
trying to be a Slipknot singer. You're right. Oh, that's way better.
That's way
better.
Why have you not been doing this all along, Eric?
Yeah, Eric. Yeah, we should have you do it from now on.
What I can do is talk about our other great sponsor, Forney Industries. They've been with us longer than anyone. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and more. For do-it-yourselfers all the way to professional metalworkers, Forney has everything you need for your next project. So be sure to check them out at forneyend.com. It's down in the description right below my head here. Or you can look for them at an authorized Forney dealer near you. Look for that green Forney logo, and you'll know you're in the right place.
Well, guys, there is one big thing happening this week. Martinsville hot dogs are on the menu again, baby.
Nice.
I've never had one. Are they all cracked up to be?
Dude, wait. I thought you've been to a race in Martinsville.
I have not. No, this will be my first trip out.
Dude, they're freaking awesome. Me and Jarrett, we missed the start of the race. What was it? The first 70 laps to get?
No, it was the first 27.
Okay, it's 27. Okay.
I've only been to one Martinsville race, and I do regret not buying more.
Dude, I bought 9 and I stuffed them in my bag.
9?
I slapped $30 down. I was like, however many this gets, which was 15. I'm like, just give me the whole.
They're worth it, bro. They're worth it, dude.
And I paid $20 for flavorless nachos at Phoenix 2 years ago.
I was not about to try it, but at that NASCAR refuel trailer at the Clash. They had Martinsville hot dogs for $9.
Oh, they're $2 at the track.
It's because it's an
Yeah.
exotic food out there.
See,
They
I
import it.
was like, I bet if I buy this, it's not even a red hot dog. There's nothing Martinsville about it. It's
Dude,
just a hot dog.
You can get
See,
4 for $9.
So okay,
wondering-
I don't really like hot dogs to begin with.
I
I'm
don't
kind of like,
either.
yeah, hot dogs are fine, but
It's-
they're that good. They're
it's-
that
I
good?
don't like hot dogs,
it's-
but I like Martinsville ones.
It's the color that makes them unique. For some reason, they
What are they, like
taste
purple.
no,
Red,
they're like
very red.
red.
Oh,
And
purple
But
is my favorite color.
I don't like the ones that have slaw on it. I just like the one that's like chili and onions.
I love
I love them. Yeah, I love where they put everything on it, man. It's great. It's great.
I'm just
I-
wondering,
dog.
the way that we've all been hearing about different stuff, is it going to be $3 adjusted to inflation this year, or we gotta stick with 2? No, I'm kidding.
3 for Dale.
It should be 2.
Yeah.
The only thing I will tell people that are going to Martinsville, if you've never went before, and Eric, I'm just going to tell you this now live. Like Darian and I talked about, the lines are super long. It's an old school place. If you're going to get your Martinsville hot dog, get in line an hour and a half before the race so you can catch the green flag.
Yeah.
They're that long.
I'm
But,
telling you, it's very
Again, it's
long.
worth it. Because people like me
Or-
who buy in bulk and hold up the whole line.
I haven't had the chance to be in the infield for Martinsville yet, though. So if anyone does get that opportunity, I've heard that the line is nowhere near as long for the one that's in the infield.
Yeah.
An infield hot dog stand.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
No, they actually have if I'm not mistaken, they might not do it anymore, but the teams I know at one point had it where there was a chalkboard, and they would keep track of what person ate the most hot dogs in a weekend. And I think like the winner one year got like 43 or something in a weekend.
I
Joey
can't-
Chestnut, my gosh. Do they have like a hot dog cannon? They fire them into the stand.
I wish.
That'd be
Dude,
cool.
I wish.
Yeah, they should do that.
But it's good. The thing I love about Martinsville, and I've always said this to anyone that I try and talk into going, is that it has the same feel as a high school football stadium, as well as the same feeling as a professional stock car racing track that NASCAR fans are used to. It's like a perfect mix. Like you feel like you're at home.
But also, like, don't make the dumb mistake like I did last year and not bring like headphones or earplugs, because like it's such a short track, so like you constantly hear the engines.
Any short track, you need headphones.
Yeah.
That
It-
and
it was nuts.
Get there early, not just for the hot dogs, but for the fact that it's like parking. They only accept cash at parking, whether it's
They're in
paid
the Stone
parking.
Age. They're in the
So,
Stone Age, bro.
Bring cash
Hey.
and get there early for parking because there's a lot
Hey.
of traffic.
I'm reading the chat. I think our good friend Hot Piss is on a good hot take here. Martinsville isn't shaped like a paperclip. It's a hot dog.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. You want to look at it that way. Yeah.
Anyway, I love those hot dogs. I love Martins. I love everything about this track. I'm sorry, this is my favorite track hands down. Anyway,
I'm gonna go kiss the wall where Logano hit in 2015. It's the first thing.
You should go take a picture with it pre-race. Go down to a pre-race. take a picture.
Just post it without context and see if anyone
Martinsville
notices.
Speedway. I am in you. I'll channel my.
Yay, Danny, yes,
that's going on no context
look-
Cherokee stuff tonight.
Let's not say that, because then you're in the hot dog. You're in the wiener.
Anyway, let's get to talking about this weekend, shall we? The truck race this weekend is the Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 200, which of course is 200 laps. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time on FS1 and is on MRN. The weather for this, well, 63, kind of low clouds, cool, 25% chance of rain. So by Martinsville standards, not bad. The defending winner of this race was, well, the fall race, I should say, is Zane Smith. He was the last winner at Martinsville. Now, the Xfinity race name is a weird one. It is the Call 811 Before You Dig 250, powered by call811.com.
God, they're getting their money's worth.
250 laps, starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, FS1 and MRN again. The weather for this one, 62. There's going to have afternoon and evening showers, 61% chance of rain. But it was honestly a worse forecast earlier in the week, so could be worse. And then the Cup race is Saturday night. The Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 400, not 500, 400. Will be 400 laps, 100 laps shorter than the last year. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time is when this baby starts on FS1. Again, remember, FS1, not Fox, FS1 and MRN.
FS1.
The weather for this one is looking like 54 degrees Fahrenheit with partly sunny, a little cool early in the day. 25% chance of rain, which is a lot better than yesterday, where it was an 81% chance of rain in the forecast.
Guys, if I could just make a comment here, I mean, it makes no sense for Blue Emu to sponsor 2 races this weekend when they already had a truck race and then they have a cup race too. I mean, what's the point of this?
This is an F1.
Well, Martin Truex Jr. won last year.
That was so not subtle, Danny. Oh my god.
No comment.
Darian, it doesn't make sense.
Darian, what about the betting odds this week, man? What are we looking at?
If you know, you know. But no, to the Darian's betting odds, the famous betting odds on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. The favorites for this weekend's, what's the name again? Blue Emu maximum pain relief 400. Got it right. The top 5 favorites in the betting odds. Martin Truex Jr. enters this weekend as the odds-on favorite at plus 550, followed by Chase. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, followed by Chase Elliott in P2 at plus 700. Denny Hamlin plus 900, tied for P3 with Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Busch rounding out the top 5 at plus 1,000. Excuse me. Now, as far as the best of the rest are concerned, I wanted to include these first 2 because I was surprised that they weren't in the favorites category. Kyle Larson and Joey Logano are also tied with Kyle Busch for the 5th place spot at plus 1,000. And I was like, wow, like they have them at plus 1,000, you know? So, and also Alex Bowman is plus 1,400, and he's the previous race's winner. You know, he won the previous race at this track. So, that's a good little one. As for the underdogs, this is very interesting to me. Ross Chastain enters this weekend at plus 1,600. So, I mean, like with how he's been performing, I mean, it's not a bad line to take. Kevin Harvick enters this weekend at plus 2,000. Brad Keselowski plus 2,500. Chase Briscoe plus 3,000. And they did this driver a little bit dirty in my opinion. Daniel Suarez enters this weekend at plus 10,000. Like, I get it. Like, I know like he doesn't have a cup win yet. He's kind of iffy on some of these tracks, but he's driving for Trackhouse, and Trackhouse, I mean, they're doing pretty damn good this year. And I'd say for Suarez's standards, he's doing pretty good himself. I don't know. I felt like they could have showed him a little bit more respect there. But hey, if you want to take advantage of Vegas Insider's odds, then hey, go ahead and do that. Now, really quick too, before we move on, let's go over the top 5 in the NWP Fantasy League. Well, first and foremost, I'm sucking again. I'm P56, so I am just way down in irrelevance. But meanwhile, the top 5, Trevor Sports 98 continues to hold on to the points lead, followed by Dawsonville Siren 9, RGP Racing 2, UGR 2, and Jets 48 rounds out the top 5. So the top 5 has remained the same pretty much ever since the season has began. So you have to be really consistent to win this thing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for playing.
And speaking of points here, when we come to the pick points, I see some people worried in the chat. Don't worry, you still have the points lead. You have 124 total points, but it's tightening up front. Second is Eric. He's only 3 points back. And Darian is now only 9 points back.
I'm there.
I am 27 back, so I still gained a point at least on y'all. And then Danny is minus 36. So we're all, I guess, still within one race. Like, any of us could still get the points lead, but let's be real. The 3 up front are really the ones pulling away right now. And I will say this, though. I have picked now 4 consecutive Xfinity races.
Hey, you're on a little.
You should give yourself a point for that. That's good.
Even with that, you keep joining me in the basement more and more each week.
I was wondering about that. I'm like, man, why am I not doing so well, and why am I closer to Danny's basement than being outside and at the top?
Danny's what? Have a long season. Danny's basement.
The basement. And I was looking at it, and my average cup pick is like an 18th place average finish, and then the average pick I have for an Xfinity driver is 2.9.
Wow.
It's like a complete difference. But anyway, let's get this started. Eric, lead us off with the truck winner. Who do you think's going to win the truck race?
I wish I know who the chat was going to pick. I feel like there's 2 or 3 pretty clear front runners on this. I'm going to go with William Byron. He's in the 7 truck. Does it have HendrickCars.com colors on it?
I believe so.
I never saw it, but I'm assuming it does.
He's in the 7 truck, Spire entry, but I think it's going to be a competitive truck. This might be going out on a little bit of a limb, but I just feel like he's a great short track racer, and I just think it's going to go well for him. So William Byron's my truck pick.
I'm going with Chandler Smith after that whole fiasco at the Atlanta Super Speedway, him almost winning, but then, his teammate not helping him. He's going to be fired up to win this race. So, Chandler Smith.
Guys, I keep picking this one, and it keeps biting me in the ass, but he's good enough every time to win. I never can bet against him. Kyle Busch. I got to go Kyle Busch.
I was about to say, did you guys even read the entry list? Kyle Busch for me, too.
I assume, and the chat's picking Kyle Busch. I was between him or Byron. I figured the chat would go Busch, and I'm taking a swing at him. I'm
going to take a swing as well. Yeah, I already have a gap. I might as well take some risk.
Well, me and Jarrett down in the basement, we're going for safe bet pick on that one.
I just go with what that's what I did last year. I went with whatever my gut trusted, and it helped me. So I need to get back to my winning ways. So looks like we got that set up. Eric, who do you think is going to win the Xfinity race?
So I do want to give a shout out to Jeremy Clements. He had a top 10 run here last year, and I'm excited to have a small associate sponsor deal with the team this weekend once again. So we're kind of running it back to an extent from Las Vegas. That was fun last fall. Didn't get the finish we wanted, so I thought it'd be fun to be a part of the team once again this week and give him a shot. And like you'll see an interview with him later this week. But as we talked about earlier, this week he said his goal is to run near Dale Jr., so it gets lots of screen time.
Hey, no, that's smart. That's smart.
I do want to give Jeremy Clements a shout out. I think he's gonna have a solid top 10, top 15 effort. But my pick is Noah Gragson.
Ooh, nice.
Hey, this guy's on a streak. He's shown that the last lap he'll give you the bumper when he needs to. Ty Gibbs.
So I have a tradition I do every year as well when Junior races, and I pick him. And that doesn't work ever. So I'm not going to.
He's been good. Where did he finish last year?
14th.
No, that was his worst. I think that was his worst run yet.
He's steadily been going down. Like,
the
man's getting older. I fully expected. I'm just happy to watch him race in person. I'm not picking Junior this year. I hope he wins. I hope I'm dead wrong. But I want to go with some sort of common sense with this one. This guy was absolutely incredible in this race last year. He had a lesser car, no offense to Jordan Anderson's team, but a lesser car than a JRM car, and he still was running in the top 5. And I think that with a JRM car, with a team that is better than the team he won with last year for the most part, I would say, or at least maybe the same. But in general, things have improved for this driver since this race last year. I am going to go with Josh Berry as my pick. So he'll finish in the top 3 at least, knowing my picks.
Riding the field. I was also saying Barry.
I'm not going to be in the basement this week because Danny's picking the same people as me. Yes. And looking at the chat right now, what do you guys say the consensus is? I'm seeing a lot of Gregsons personally.
I see a lot of Gregsons,
but
it's been Gregson, Gibbs, and Barry. It's kind of fluctuated as we've made our own picks. They kind of like chime in.
How many can I put into a poll? And we'll just roll with that and then go into that.
You can do at least 3 or 4, I think.
You do 3. I think you can put the 54, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll just
answer me. Poll.
Poll.
I'm gonna put poll, and then I'll just put what was it? It was Gregson, Barry,
Gibbs, and
Gibbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put the numbers.
Yeah. All right. And it's out in 3, 2, 1. You poor Spotify listeners, you don't get to vote on the poll.
Yeah.
But if you watch live, but no.
No, there's someone driving their car right now. Gregson.
Well, we'll find out in a bit. Anyway, who is gonna suck this week, Eric?
For the Cup race, that's a tough one. I actually didn't think that far ahead. I was focused on my win pick. I don't know, 23-11. Oh no, I can't say that because that goes against one of my other picks. I feel like the 23-11 is kind of a mess, but if they put a full race together, anyway, I think I was shot in the dark. Cindric. I don't know. He's been fine, but I feel like he's progressively become less and less noteworthy since his Daytona 500 win. I don't know. I'll go Cindric.
I was about to go with Cindric too. Yeah, I mean, he's had some decent runs and stuff. I felt like after he scored the pole at Auto Club, it's been kind of downhill ever since. But I mean, he hasn't been terrible. But I just don't think he'll necessarily do good this weekend. So Austin Cindric.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with the guy who is at a plus 10,000 betting odds. There's a reason he is. Daniel Suarez. Did not run very well last year at either Martinsville race, so I think he's going to be doing not too good.
And for me, I'm saying Brad Keselowski. The bad season continues.
What do we think looking at the chat? Honestly, it doesn't really matter.
I can also tell you your poll is looking like they're going to fuss on Josh Berry.
Looks like Custer. I see 4 different Custers. I'm surprised. Actually, 5.
Let's go with Cole Custer then.
Yeah. And that's for the poll. Yeah, I think Josh Berry won out there.
We need to keep track of. Do we keep track of every week? Because I feel like the chat picks Custer to suck every week.
Every
I
other
can go
week
back
they
and
do.
look after the show.
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like
end
it's
poll.
frequent.
It's sad to say, but it's such a easy one to do.
But it's the chat, and it's not even us. It's the chat. Last year it was Almirola every week. This week
it's
Custer.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
All right, chat. Your Xfinity pick is Josh Berry this week. Now, who is the Cup dark horse this week?
So this is why I kind of contradicted myself a little bit, but I'm going with Bubba Wallace. I do think 2311 is kind of a mess. They've had parts break. Kurt Busch hasn't run very well this year, but he's snuck into the top 5 a couple of times. I think this could be Bubba Wallace's best chance to do the same thing. I know he did at Daytona, obviously a great super speedway racer, but he has won a truck race at Martinsville in the past. I think a top 10 is certainly on the table, and I hope he gets it. I think he has a great shot.
He's won twice here, actually, in trucks, I think.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
He has. Yep. 2013 and 2014. So, yeah, my underdog pick has, in my opinion, done pretty good for being a rookie driver and driving for this team. I'm going to go with Todd Gilliland at a short track like Martinsville, where you need to save your stuff or whatever. I think he could rally that car inside the top 15. I feel it.
This guy's finished in the top 15 in 2 of the last 3 Martinsville races. I think that I think he'll be, again, a top 15 driver, but possibly a top 10 driver. I'm going to go with Chris Buescher this week.
I think for me, I'm thinking about the Clash a few weeks back, and that's probably the most similar track that we've seen to Martinsville. And I'm going to say Ty Dillon is an underdog here to maybe go out and get a top 15 finish. He, kind of won that one, but got aggressive. But yeah, I think Ty Dillon will be my underdog for this one.
Yeah. Well, the chat was looking like Bubba at first, but there's a lot of people that are putting different ones. There's
a lot of LaJoys as well, which is kind of cool.
There's a lot of 7s. Yeah.
I would say though, overall, it looked like there was a lot of Eric Jones 43s when I scroll up a bit.
Yeah, there is.
So I think we're gonna roll with that one for you guys. Again, no points, so no big one.
Yeah,
no big on it.
They'll probably do better for Eric Jones anyways.
But this pick portion of the show is about to be for points. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win?
Guys, Mike lasted
at Martinsville. Did it? Nice.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I feel like Martinsville's always been a driver's track. Great drivers can overcome mediocre cars to run up near the front. And even though this is a completely new car, I still feel like the best short track racers, the guys who are usually good at Martinsville's, the Elliots, the Truexes, I think they're going to be the ones up front. I think our new winner streak ends this weekend. I think William Byron not only will win the truck race on Thursday night, I think he will also win the Cup race on Saturday night. So I'm on the Willie B bandwagon for this weekend and this weekend only. Byron wins it.
Ooh.
I'm picking a Hendrick driver as well, but it's not Willie B. It's not Kyle Larson either. And sorry, Danny, it's not your boy Bowman. I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. He is finally going to get at least one victory for all 4 of the Hendrick Motorsports cars. I think it's about time. At Richmond, obviously, he was off the pace from being a winning car and stuff. But hey, Martinsville, he's proven he can win here before. He's proven that he's really good here. So Chase Elliott is going to win.
That didn't work too well for me last week. I'm going to go with the guy who's the odds-on favorite. Look out, Truex fans, because my picks haven't been too good this year because he's my driver this week. Martin Truex Jr., I think, is going to win the Cup race because he didn't win the last Martinsville race, and it seems like he wins every other one or at least every couple. And I think Truex, arguably had one of, if not the best car last week as well at Richmond. The short track program looks to be pretty good, so Truex seems like a good bet.
I'm kind of thinking similar to Eric in the sense that I think the truck winner will also win the Cup race. I think back to the Clash, while Joey Logano did win, Kyle Busch looked really good. I think Kyle Busch gets it done this weekend.
And then when it comes to the chat pick, it looks like it's between MVR owner keeps putting a bunch of 24s. I see you, dude.
You're not slick.
But there's
you can
other
only
24s.
put one.
There are other 24s though, but yeah. I know.
And you have the blue check mark, so we can see you. Like,
You stand out. You stand out.
You're the easiest person in the chat to see, dude.
And he's still playing though. Too.
I appreciate the confidence.
Okay. He stopped all of a sudden.
Okay.
All right. Well, I don't know.
I also see a lot of true X's. I see a lot of 19s, 9s.
As much as it would hurt me with the point stuff, it is looking like Truex.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, do we want to do a poll or no? You're
Feel free to do a poll if you want.
A poll if you
what
want.
would it just be between Truex and Byron?
Is it time for poll?
Poll?
Yeah. It's a time for poll.
Yeah, let's do a poll. All right. So
I could not commentate a qualifying session. Congrats to Alex Bowman. He's on the poll.
Poll. I don't know. I think the chat's gonna change up because they know Eric picked Byron, so they're probably gonna pick Byron too, so he doesn't.
I think we picked different truck and Xfinity picks. Didn't they? Yeah, they picked Busch, I picked Byron, and then I picked Gregson, they picked Barry. So there's gonna be some jostling up front this weekend.
Yeah.
all right, poll is up. We'll let that one stew for a bit, and then we'll pick it up later. But for now,
Truex is off to an early lead.
Yeah, I kind of figured he was gonna, but we'll let that one roll through as we get to the final bit of super chats here. Where did I stop off on? Was it? Oh. No, yeah. Okay, we talked about the window upstairs and Ryan. So okay, we got that.
Okay.
So finishing off with the super chats here, Kyle Hart, thank you for the 199. Says, hey guys, can we get Jeff back all year next year? I mean, we can get him probably for
it's
this year.
I don't think that Sev Ryan and Bay Area Bugs would let us have him that much.
Yeah. You're talking about Jeff Audio. I thought you were talking about Jeff Gordon in the booth first. I was like, wait, no, no, please no.
Absolutely not.
No one's asking for that, Darian.
Okay, thank you.
PTM Billy, thank you for the $10 super chat. It says, take it from a Kyle Busch fan. I'm not saying that his team did the right thing, but something that small, come on. It was described as a big piece on the radio. Maybe a little bias on that. Yeah, a rule's a rule, even if it's not necessarily a great one. Andrew Meyer, thank you for the $5. Says, if the Hall is loosely interpreting their own rules to include Matt Kenseth on this year's ballot, then it means he's going in with his.
I hope so.
His respect.
He better.
Kyle Hart, thank you for the $4.99. Says, hey Eric, sorry to say, but Ratatouille is my least favorite Pixar movie. Hey,
have you seen only like 2 Pixar movies then? Like,
while it's not my favorite, it's also not my least favorite by any means either. Double Music says, spending my birthday surrounded in tornado watches, playing NASCAR Heat, and watching the podcast. Love what you all do. Y'all got
Happy
me
birthday.
into NASCAR during COVID.
Happy birthday.
Josh Berry for the win. Yes, for the win on Friday. Happy birthday, man. And
thank you.
I can speak for all of us. We're all glad that we helped you get into the sport.
Thank you.
Alexander Gamerson for $2 Canadian bucks says, are you guys going to do a fan mail again? Maybe one day, but probably not anytime soon. Isaac, thank you for the $1.99. Cole Pern for the booth. If he wants, I think he's doing stuff right now.
That would be interesting though. I would like to hear some time. Yeah. Like to hear
Hot Piss. Thank you for the $1.99. Says, I'd love to see Gus Johnson do a few races. Yes.
Oh,
hey.
Yes.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool, bro.
Lord Voldemort for the $1.99 says, the Dark Lord thinks Fox is bordering on TNT bad. TNT did get some pretty bad years.
They did.
They had some good moments.
They did. There he goes. Turnpike, thank you for the $1.99. Says, week 3 of calling Eric a goofy goober. See y'all soon.
I'm a goofy goober.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2008 Dodge Full for $2 says, are you guys going to Bristol Dirt? Danny and I are.
I'm going.
Darian will be as well.
That's right.
Yep.
Sly Supersonic, thank you for the $5.08. People hate Ty Gibbs because he has the potential to be Kyle Busch 2.0. In Rowdy Nation, we call him Beast Mode Jr. I'm going to have to get a verify on that. A Busch soul.
Got to get that Skittles deal back.
Yeah. Hey, my grandma left a $20 super chat. Says, great to hear how you guys got together. I told her the story of how we got the podcast together.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Hello.
Chips Never 957, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, John Hunter Nemechek gets a win taken away from him by a teammate, and somewhere Chandler Smith smiles.
He was probably, hey, I don't think Chandler Smith was too, he was like, yeah, oh well, so be it.
PTM Billy, thank you for the $2. Says Braves in 6. Okay.
I like the Braves, but yeah, I mean, we'll be back.
Alexander
I lost
Gamerson-
Freddie Freeman. Come on now.
Alexander Gamerson for the Canadian 2. Pick an era to race in: Gen 4, COT, or Gen 6. Gen 4.
Gen 4. Gen 4. The sport was just so big back in those days, man. Gen 4.
I'd say COT actually.
I kind of like, there's a couple years I didn't watch that much, and I got back in towards the end of the Gen 5, and racing was pretty good. I thought pretty consistently. So I don't know. That's a tough call.
I'd say race the 2011, 2012 COT though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
John Malowski CR, thank you for $2. Says Ricky is 28th in points. Should he be doing better? I think so personally.
Wait, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 28th in points?
Yeah, he's had an awful year so far.
Oh, yeah, he should be way better than that. Come on.
Lord Voldemort for the 199 says the Dark Lord encourages you to look at the lows. Okay.
Okay.
Jar Jar
Go
for
build a
199
shelf.
Jar Jar for 199 gave us his seat and section. I'm gonna leave it that. I don't like reading.
we don't
Yeah.
we don't want to say that out loud. But thank you though.
With all due respect with that. Gordon the Big Engine for $5 says after my trip to the Indy 500, I may be going to Loudon or the Southern 500 Darlington. Who knows?
He can fit there. Gordon's a pretty big engine.
This is a good name. I like this one. Local neighborhood Ritz dealer says was pulling for you last night, Darian, watching Enter Night in America stream.
Oh,
came so close at Dago before you absolutely biffed it.
You saw that?
You saw the block, yeah, dude. It was
Darian
bad. I was embarrassed.
for those listening or who didn't see last night. Darian tried to block across 6 lanes at once, and it didn't.
Darian.
This was like 7 to go. I was racing clean up to that point. I lost my head. What did I say? I've only won one of those Enter Night events. I want to win another one. It's been so long. But yeah, no, that was stupid, and I rightfully got dragged in the broadcast by IDK. Yeah. So,
Groovy Goose, thank you for the $4.99. Says if you won multiple grandfather clocks, would you all set them to one time zone and then they chime at once, or do you set them to different time zones? I'm assuming they chime every hour, so they chime.
Yeah, that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, it don't matter.
I put them in a circle. Stand right in between them.
Wait,
take it.
The way a clock works, it does like a certain amount of chimes for every hour it is, so it would be a little off.
Yeah. Napa Racing Fan 927, thanks for $2, says, what will NASCAR's TV deal look like after 24? We talked about it before. We'll probably talk about it when it gets closer to that. But yeah, please. Blue Jimmy 48 fan, thanks for $2, man. Says, can't wait to finally see y'all at Martinsville. Well, I can't wait to meet you, man.
Yeah.
You'll see 2 of us.
Yeah. Double stuff gaming for the Canadian 5. Sorry, Eric, but go Braves. Jeez.
I mean, I actually like the Braves. Like, I have family that loves the Braves. I used to go to Atlanta all the time. The first MLB game I remember going to was a Braves game at the old Turner Field. So I didn't mind losing them last year, but the Astros will be back. They always are.
Sly Supersonic for 5, thank you, says, hey, would you guys want to get NRF on the show? He's pretty good. If he's willing to come on, yeah, I'm willing to talk to him.
Yeah, why not?
Ryan Williams for $199. The Incredibles is the best Pixar movie. I can agree with that one. I don't think that's
yeah.
You guys bring a tear to my eye every time.
Nova Stone 12 for $2 says, interesting that 4 of the 5 drivers in points have 0 top 3s. And then last super chat, it looks like, for the night from Kevin Stallman for $5. Will any of you be visiting Dover? I know the racing isn't your liking, but still, it's my home track. For me, maybe one day. I know Danny said he wants
one day.
You didn't read that all the way. He said Dover International Speedway. Nobody will be visiting Dover International Speedway.
All right. Not Dover International Speedway, Dover Motor Speedway. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to next year. I don't know why. It just suddenly hit me like, I want to go to Dover next year.
Okay, we got 2 more here. GN, thank you for the $5, says, if people hated Richmond's Sunday race, then they are really going to hate North Wilkesboro if that track comes back. I prefer Rockingham. I will agree. North Wilkesboro races more like Richmond than it does other short tracks. I think people forget. And then a Tagos Raven for $2 says Fox needs to improve their broadcast or leave. I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that. Yeah,
Cool with that.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with that.
And I guess it got closer, but I really think even though it is 54-46 right now, I think we're looking at a Truex. Well, 53-47. Good lord.
Hey, they're catching up, but I don't know.
They're just out of time.
1 second.
Yeah.
Napa Racing Fan 927. Go Dale Jr. # Junior Nation. # Ratatouille's overrated. What have I begun in this? Oh Lord, no. But I'm gonna end the poll here. We had 212 votes on it, so I think we're pretty good on who we're picking for this one. Ending the poll now. Martin Truex Jr. is your pick, chat. So you're picking the same one as me. Oh man,
Deal with it.
Oh
What?
man, they picked the same one as me in every freaking
Oh
race.
yeah, that's right. Hey, chat. Me and Eric, we're closing in though. So hey, y'all better. Yeah. y'all better rock
So if I gain any spots this week, it's because of Eric and Darian's picks sucking.
Yeah.
And
because
Let me
of-
down, Byron.
If I gain any, it's because me and Jarrett are riding together until a cup race.
I like the other White Cast in the chat. Jarrett has provoked a gang war. Yeah, on Pixar movies.
Pixar War.
Oh man, but yeah, I think that'll do it. I think we got through super chats, got everything down. So next week we're gonna be on Darian's channel, April 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we're gonna go over everything from Martinsville, any news that pops up, and getting you ready for Bristol Dirt, which hopefully this year will not be rained out.
Please don't.
Yeah, please. I would really like to.
I'm seeing this in person and stuff, and then I saw footage of the next gen testing. I feel like the next gen was built for Dirt Bristol.
It looks faster.
It looks
That's what I'm
fast.
excited
Yeah.
The car was actually hanging out sideways versus while I was there. It looked more like they were doing a regular Bristol line. It was just on dirt.
Okay. So yeah. So hopefully this race is good, but please no weather fiascos.
Yeah, and Eric and I will be at Martinsville, so you see us?
See us.
Say hi.
You'll
Say hi.
you'll recognize them. They're the ones overly bloated from Martinsville hot dogs.
Hey Eric, are you gonna get 9 though, like I did?
No, I don't think so. I don't
Oh,
Oh,
say
you
that now.
should.
You say
Yeah,
that now.
you after one, you're gonna want
They are
more.
very easy to eat one really fast. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. All right.
You're
I guess
gonna want multiple. I'm
I'll
telling
never
you.
say never.
All right, I think we're good. Oh, I almost unplugged my mic. I think we're good.
that'd be
Eric,
bad.
would
That'd
you
be bad. Just talking in silence.
Yeah, that would be bad. Well,
That
but
would be
Eric,
bad.
would you do us the honors?
Oh,
Every week? We get
Yeah.
on Darian. We got to start getting on Eric.
There we go.
It was your thing for the longest time. Well, in honor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. making his annual return to the racetrack, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Dale Call.
The Dale Call.
I like the way you whisper that into my ear.
Well, that
You
is
got some of it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Green, green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!